Hello, this is Nicole with Angelic Therapy and Healing. So we are going to be doing something a little different. Instead of doing your typical weekly readings, we're actually going to do a monthly reading for September for each sign. Hopefully that will help kind of dive into some specifics that are happening with you and your situation at this time to get you some more detailed information particular to you. Do keep in mind this is a general reading. It is for a lot of people. So you might find there's only one or two messages for you. When I do these readings, I do pray, prepare, shuffle. I do ask that each of you receive at least one message, but it is good to keep in mind it is for a large audience. And if you find that not much is resonating with your sun sign, go ahead and listen to your moon or your rising. You might be able to get some information from those as well. And if you're still finding there's only a few messages, that's good. That means things aren't too bad. So I would be thankful for that. Now, for those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. Glad to have you here. If you don't know much about me, I survived a bombing in Afghanistan. And at that time, my spiritual gifts were opened up, like blasted open up. I am clairaudient. I hear Jesus and the angels talk to me. I'm a medium. I'm an empath. I am certified by Doreen Virtue. I have a couple certificates by her. I am a quantum touch energy medicine practitioner. For those of you that aren't familiar, it's a healing modality. So like in a 3-hour healing session, and I give all the credit to God, a 3-hour healing session, I've had hundreds of people healed of cancer, multiple sclerosis, even like hip replacements, and down to things that are less severity, like healing broken bones, healing torn tendons, whatever it is, it can be taken care of with quantum touch. So welcome. You can read more about me. I'm not going to go into any more details, but there is an About Me section on my webpage. Feel free to check that out. For those of you that have been here for a while, thank you. Glad to have you continuing to return. Thank you for your subscriptions, your comments. Thanks for sharing these videos. I do love hearing how these are helping you. So even though I can't respond to all of you, continue sending the comments my way. I do love reading them. Now, for those of you that are going to be asking about sessions or readings, I'm still not accepting new clients because I am booked out quite a bit in advance with current clients, but please stay tuned. As soon as my retirement is finalized, I will then open up for new clients. It should be happening in the very, very near future. I will announce it in these readings. So as soon as it's announced, then you will be able to go online and book appointments. So we are going to do a little educational bit, and actually this is going to be the same intro for every single sign. So if you do go and listen to your moon or rising, you can skip past this part. I know a lot of you are going to skip past this anyhow, but I would encourage you to stay because it is going to help you kind of understand what's going on right now with the energy. So as we all know, the energy is extremely intense right now. It has been for most of the year, but especially since we had the eclipse on August 21st. And it's, as you notice, everyone's like, oh, why hasn't it settled down? Because it's starting to ramp up even more. And it's going to continue like this all the way through the end of September. Many of you know that on September 23rd, there is going to be that Revelations 12 sign. If you are not familiar, there are a bunch of videos on YouTube. Just go to watch whichever one you are guided to watch, and you'll be able to get some information on that. The 144,000 should all be sealed by September 23rd. And what you're going to find is things are going to start to ramp up even more than they are. So if you've not done any research yet, there is this Schumann resonance, and it's the Earth's heartbeat. Essentially what it is, the Earth has a frequency, and it's an interplay with our electromagnetic field. Essentially, it's the pulses of energy between the Earth's surface and our ionosphere. And for years and years and years, the Earth's resonance heartbeat was at 7.83 hertz. And what they noticed in 2014 is that it began increasing. And 7.83, if you think of it, it's kind of like an alpha theta, like a dream state. You're very calm, you're very relaxed. Once it gets over 16.5, that's kind of like, actually over 15, it's kind of like an awakened calm. So like an awakening, spiritual awakening. And that is why a number of people have been going through all this awakening stuff. It's been particularly intense for millions of people since 2014. And it's continued to increase. They found that in 2017, it had jumped to over 36 plus hertz. And once you get over 36, it's kind of like there's this nervousness and anxiety in people's brain versus that calm, healthy state. But what that does is that starts to change our DNA. That starts to bring in more of God's light. It pushes out the dark. And we see that every day. We see these things happening, and we're kind of shocked that these things are happening in our world right now. But in order to fill things with more light, with more love, you have to get rid of the dark. And you got to push the dark out so it comes to the surface so we get to see more of it. Now, on a personal level, what's happening for us is that's forcing all of us to release our own individual darkness, our karma. We have to release those things. We have to learn those lessons. We have to heal those things. That's why we've been under such intense pressure and being pushed, kind of like in a pressure cooker that's about to bubble over, because there's just so many things being pulled from our lives, released from our lives, let go. But that is because we're being filled with more light, more of God's light, love, coming into a state of unconditional love. To come into that state, we can't hold on to the darkness anymore. We can't hold on to people that aren't meant for us. We can't hold on to situations that aren't meant for us. All those things that do not serve us, all those things that are not of love, of unconditional love, and even down to not loving ourselves, that all has to go. Has to be released, has to be healed. Lessons have to be learned, things have to be let go of. And that's prepare us for things that are to come. And it's all this big awakening that we're going through, this ascension process. And there's a lot of ascension symptoms and things that you go through. There's actually a guy that does YouTube videos. I don't often have time to watch his videos, but when I do, he's got really good videos. And I think he posts one per day. But if you want to check him out, I'll put a link to his YouTube channel below. His name is Victor Odo, and he talks about the ascension process. And he gives tips and pointers and things that you can do to ground yourself, to release things, because there's a lot that you can do. I mean, if you're struggling, because a lot of people have been struggling since the 21st. They've had a lot of ailments, conditions, headaches, rashes, all types of things popping up. Tonight, fill your tub, fill it up with some water, put some Epsom salt in there, and soak in the tub for 20 minutes. That will release those physical toxins, that will release those emotional toxins, that will help you get to feeling better. Anytime you feel these things bubble up, that's because you're releasing things. And in order to speed that up, soak in the tub, go see a healer, walk outdoors in nature. You know, for some it's also changing diet, but there's things that you can do to help this, help your system quickly release it. And he does cover those things in his videos. Now, you will find, because a lot of you, again, since the eclipse, you've had just a lot of intense energy, weird things happening with your body, headaches that won't go away. A lot of you are kind of feeling like anxious, like, oh my gosh, something's about to happen. I don't know what's about to happen, but I'm a little anxious. I don't know why. That's because things are going to be continuing to accelerate. Clear up until September 23rd. Now, with the whole ascension process, it's still going to be intense after that, but you will get a bit of a breather. So once we get into October, you get to take a deep breath, kind of calm down a little bit. But it is in preparation for things that are to come. So I'm going to share some information, and don't be worried about this information. It's all good. It's all bringing us to a better place. It's not something to freak out about. But when you read the Bible and you look at that, what it talks about in the Bible, like the rapture, that is true. These things we are going to see in our lifetimes, those of us that are here right now. And again, it's not something to fear. But what we're doing is we're preparing essentially for, if you look at it, it's kind of like the earth is going to be splitting into two. So there will be like this new earth. There's actually some videos out there. Dolores Cannon, she did hypnosis sessions, and people were always talking about this new earth, this split. And many of the things that she shares in her videos are true. Now, not everything, but many things are. So what I would recommend is check out some of her videos. You know, pray, ask that your angels and God and Jesus, ask that they come and they help you discern what is true and what is not. And ask that they help fill in some blanks for you. Because you'll find if you ask that, you will know immediately something that's resonating with you that, yeah, that is true, that is spot on. You'll know what is not, and they will fill in the blanks for you. But you do have to pray and ask that they do that beforehand. But what's described in the Bible. And actually, if you look at, religious texts and look at them, there's actually bits and pieces from different parts, because, Jesus was a Jew. He actually was an Essene. The Essenes are the foundation of Christianity. It kind of all grew and evolved from there. But what it talks about with that, going to be going through the rapture process, things are going to appear that are like that. Now, the severity of things that do occur as we're going through these changes do hinge off of where we are as a collective. We can make things not as bad. We can make things worse. It depends on whether we're coming from a place of love or whether we're coming from a place of fear, where we're all coming from too, and what we're contributing to that. But we are going to get to a state in this split where millions of people are going to disappear. What is going to appear for the people that are on old Earth is that, they'll wake up, because it will happen in an instant, in the twinkling of an eye, and just millions of people will be gone. And those that are going to be gone, those are going to be the people that believe. They believe in God. They believe in Jesus. Not to delve too deeply into texts and things to look at in scriptures and stuff, but I encourage all of you, as we go through this, to do your own research. Look at things and see what really truly resonates with your heart and soul. Because what you'll find is you'll learn a lot, and you'll find that these things are going to resonate with you. Because when you watch, Dolores Cannon, she did these hypnosis sessions, and they're coined QHHT sessions. When you watch those, you'll find a lot of people, when they talk about the new earth, when they are asked what's required to get to the new earth, they always, they'll say that, they have to believe. They have to believe in God. They have to believe. That's true. Now, when you look at Jesus, when Jesus was here, again, he was born Jewish, he was an Essene, but he loved everyone. It didn't matter the color of your skin. It didn't matter what your religious upbringing was. He traveled around. He loved everyone. He was here as a savior, a Messiah for everyone here on earth. Everyone, all of us, every single one of us. And it's interesting, because when I do healing sessions, and I'm a seer as well. Oftentimes when I'm doing them, I'll see what my clients are physically wearing on the other side of the world while I'm working on them. But when I'm doing these healing sessions, and it might be my client or someone doing soul contract cancellations with or whatever, the moment that Jesus comes into the scene, because when I'm doing these sessions, Archangel Michael's always there, Archangel Raphael's usually there, but sometimes Jesus will come in during the session, and the moment that he enters, the client, their family members, whomever else is there, all of them will immediately drop to the ground and bow down to him, because he emulates that power. Jesus is power. He is the light. He is the light that will snuff out the darkness. And he truly is. If you look at near-death experiences, when people have a God come in, that they meet, that they get to experience, it's always Jesus. And I encourage you to try it for yourself, actually. Because again, we're all supposed to learn. We're not supposed to just blindly believe things that we're told. We're even taught that, in the biblical texts. We're supposed to learn. We're supposed to discern. We are supposed to dig. We're also supposed to ask, and we will receive the guidance and information. Not to trust what others are giving us, not to be deceived. So many of you, because you are going through this ascension process, many of you are actually under psychic attack right now. There is a spiritual war going on between light and dark. So many of you are being attacked by darker entities. You know that because you're having bad dreams, or your animals or your kids are just fighting all the time. It's like there's a lot of this anger and hatred in your home. Or maybe you're tripping when you're at the house, and it's kind of like you feel like someone pushed you or shoved you, or you accidentally cut yourself and you're like, I wasn't even doing it. It's almost like something else did it to you. Or maybe in your dreams you're getting red eyes, or you're having a really lot of dark dreams, and they're kind of scary and worrisome. When you're experiencing those things, that's because something dark is in your home. It's very easy to remove those things. Now, you can, in your own power, command that person to leave, that entity to leave. You can call upon any higher power that you want to. You can say in their name for it to leave. What you will find is that entity will not leave. However, when you command it to leave in the name of Jesus, and you call on God and Jesus to help you, and you command it in the name of Jesus to leave, you'll find that you and your family get instant relief, that it's gone. And that's something I encourage clients to do right away, because, you know, I'll talk with clients, they'll be like, oh my gosh, all these bad things are happening, and I don't know how to stop it. And when I recommend that they try that, suddenly the dark stuff's gone. Suddenly their kids are getting along. Suddenly their animals are getting along. Suddenly they're not tripping and hurting themselves anymore, because there is power in the name of Jesus, and it's gone. But you, again, don't have to believe me. Try it yourself. See how it works. Now, I know I've shared in some other videos that last September I was falling asleep, and there was this, it was as though someone was standing outside of my bedroom playing a trumpet. Now, it's interesting because in, you know, Jewish, there's different, you know, feasts that they have. They have feasts of trumpets. Then these are very important points when you look at things that have happened worldwide that are big, that have been, you know, foretold in our theological religious texts, not just Christianity. They happen on a Jewish feast, because that's how God times things. That's how Jesus times things. And so we were around one of the feasts, and I hear like someone, it's as though literally standing outside my bedroom window playing a trumpet. And then within a couple days, I was unloading my car, I was outside, and all of a sudden I heard this like a horse, and it literally blew on my neck and jumped, it made me jump, and I was startled. And it was Jesus on this white horse, and he told me to not be afraid, and he told me that it's time to prepare, it's time to start preparing. Now, if you're familiar, Jesus on a white horse, when he returns on a white horse. So, and you can research that and check that out, but there are things that are about to occur, that are about to happen. So, like some may have noticed, like we've had a lot of people passing away the past 2-3 years, and like people that are young, totally unexpected, and it's been a lot of people. Like, you know, in our lifetimes, we've never seen anything like this until recently. That's going to continue into early 2018. That's because our loved ones, they know what's about to come. They want to witness it from the other side. They don't want to get to experience it with us. They will be with us. They will be helping us. They're just going to be doing it from the other side. They're going to let us have the experience. And that's why there have been so many of them passing on, because they have made that choice to not be on this side for everything. Now, again, it's not something to be afraid of. But what will happen is these people who believe, they will disappear. They'll be on this new earth. Now, that new earth, I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of details about that, but maybe at some point we'll do some down the road when they tell me it's time. We'll do some educational video about that. But essentially, people will be there for about 1,000 years. Eventually, it's like the returning to Garden of Eden. And over that time, over that 1,000 years, people's bodies will evolve into light bodies. So then it will eventually evolve to the point that, you know, people are there, but they're not in physical bodies. So we'll talk about that more later. Simultaneously, around that same time, what will happen is these people will disappear, and that's going to be millions. Because a lot of people think that they're going to be left behind because, you know, the Bible states only 144,000 are going to be ascending. No, millions of people who are believers, are going to just disappear. Almost at that exact time, immediately following the disappearance within minutes, the 144,000 will ascend. And those that are here on old earth will physically see them ascending. And what they're going to see is they're going to see Jesus on a white horse. They're going to see his army of angels behind him, and they're all on white horses. And those 144,000 that are going to ascend, they are angels incarnated. They're physically in human bodies right now, but they will be ascending. They are part of God's army. And that's going to be kind of like the final throwdown with the dark. But once that's all done, and that's going to be very swift and quick. I mean, if you look at human times, it's going to be something that's going to happen in under an hour. It's going to be very, very fast. And then those 144,000 will meet their families on the new earth. And it will seem like they weren't even gone. It'll seem like, you know, seconds. But it's not anything to fear. You really don't have anything to fear and worry about. I mean, if you look at it, if you're listening to this video, you're preparing to go to New Earth. You're experiencing all these ascension systems, all these ascension symptoms, you're preparing. Your system's changing, your body's changing. You are preparing to make that change, make that leap. That's a beautiful thing. And when you look at it, I mean, it's been a struggle for us because we've had to lose friends, we've had to lose lovers, we've had all these things taken out of our life. But that's because those things aren't good for us. And we're going to a place that's filled with love and bliss and joy and unconditional love. Those things were not of unconditional love, so they're not meant to go with us. That's why we have to let them go. You can even find that you're having very positive experiences. Like maybe I was talking with a friend and, we were having a conversation about how, you can be driving the same path as someone else to work at the same time. And maybe you don't experience any traffic and you don't experience any car accidents. It's like easy breezy. You're hitting every green light. You're like, this day is amazing, best ever. But then you talk to your friend who drove the same time, the same route, and they experienced nothing but stop traffic, red lights, car accidents. It was a horrible drive to work for them. That's because you're starting to see the split. The split's starting to already occur. So some of us are having really good positive experiences. Some of us are not having such good experiences. The split's starting to occur. And that's why now is the time to prepare. It's time to prepare spiritually, it's time to prepare mentally, it's time to prepare physically. And what that really means to us is it's time to stop the distractions. The angels have been talking nonstop in all of our videos the past couple months is stop the distractions, stop the multiple relationships, the rebounds, the drugs, the addictions, the behaviors that aren't, in your highest good. If you're supposed to be, because those of us that have things that we still need to let go of that we're like clinging tightly to, we know what it is that we're being guided to do and let go of. We know that. It is time to do those things that we're being guided to do. So if you're being guided to let go of an ex or a partner or a job or even a diet change, whatever it is that you're being guided to do that. Because so many of us, because the things that we're still holding on to, we're holding on to it out of fear. We are terrified to let that person go, that thing go, because that's been constant for us. That's been, even though it's not been happy, it's been stability for us. It's been comfort for us. We don't want to venture into the unknown, but that is the one thing that is not meant for us. It's not good for us. We know that. But instead of dealing with that, many of us have turned to other relationships, or we've turned to alcohol, or we've turned to drugs, or we've turned to pornography, or we've turned to anything and everything that will keep us off of doing what we're meant to do, keep us from having those conversations, keep us from ending those ties, keep us from signing the paperwork. But the time has come to do those things because they're trying to bring us back to a state of unconditional love. They're trying to bring us to a state of loving ourselves, loving others. They're bringing us into a state of wholeness. We can't be whole and happy with this baggage we keep lugging around. We have got to let the baggage go because we're drowning. We've been struggling to tread water for a while, and it's drowning us. So we've got to let that dead weight go. And what you will find this weekend, if you happen to listen to this, the first weekend of September, for those of us in the United States, you'll be celebrating Labor Day. But it'll be this weekend all the way through the full moon that we're going to be having this first week of September. It's going to be intense. You're going to feel some of that intensity that you felt around the eclipse. And that's because they're hitting us to release those things that don't serve us. So, like maybe you're noticing a repeated theme. Like something keeps happening over and over and over, but you're clinging to something you know you need to let go of. It's time to let go because you can't take that with you. You can't take that person with you. So maybe you started, dating someone else. Maybe there's an ex you're supposed to be letting go of. And, you've not let that ex go because maybe you think it's going to change, or maybe there's money worries, or you're afraid of going into the unknown. Or it could be that like your family relies, and I'm not talking your kids because you still get to take care of your children. You need to keep taking care of your children. But I'm talking about like maybe their family counts on you, their siblings or something, or maybe there's like some community connection with them and you don't want to let them down. But for some reason, if you boil it down though, it's fear. You continue to hold on to them. But maybe you're not talking with them at this point. You've not ended the final ties. So while you're sitting in this place of limbo, knowing that you're to release that ex, and you haven't, not wanting to deal with it, you start jumping into other relationships, and maybe you jump into a rebound relationship, but you're discovering that that rebound is a lot like your ex. You know, maybe they are very manipulative, or maybe they really try and nag you into doing things or push you to do things, or maybe they're trying to push you to quickly commit, or they could be like a me person, self-centered, it's all about them. Or they make you feel bad in order to get you to do something that they want you to do. And you feel kind of like, dang, this is like my ex. I feel like I've jumped back into my ex. That's because it's a repeated pattern. You are seeing the same attributes and characteristics of your ex because you have not released your ex. You have not released that karma. You have not learned that lesson. So it's ramping up. It's ramping up because it's time to let that person go. So this weekend through the full moon, this next week, many people are going to have some huge breakthroughs, some big epiphanies, some ahas. That is meant to help you let go of that fear that is keeping you from taking that leap of faith, that final step of clearing that karma, releasing that person, releasing that situation, because the time has come. And we've been pushed to do this for a couple years, because what you'll find is essentially the way the planets are going to be aligned at this time is the same way they were aligned during the eclipse in 2015. So some of you were being pushed to release the exact same thing or person 2 years ago in August 2015. But what happened is you did not want to let go. You're like, oh, hell no. I'm going to hold on. I'm going to hold on with both hands. I'm going to cling with both legs. I'm going to drag on their leg because I'm not letting them go. This is my plan. I'm sticking to it. I refuse to release it or release them. But you clung on. So for some of you, say it was a love interest. You know, in the fall, heading into the winter of 2015, you decided to, maybe you proposed to them. Maybe you remarried them. Maybe you married them. Maybe you stopped divorce proceedings. Or it could be maybe you stayed at that job. But instead of letting go, you went the opposite direction. You clung out of fear. For many of us, the exact same thing we were to release in 2015 is boiling back up. And many of you have seen that same exact situation bubble up recently. And you're really going to see it bubble up this week because it's out of fear that you're clinging on to it or clinging on to them. The time has come. It is time to let them go. It is time to let the situation go. We are really being pushed to take that leap of faith. Take that plunge, release the fear, release them. We're also going to be pushed to deal with the things that we keep ignoring. So maybe we don't want to deal with it because it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation or a difficult conversation, or it's going to be, you know, outside of our norm, outside of our comfort zone. So we're like, oh gosh, I just don't want to deal with that. I just can't deal with that right now. I'd rather just keep burying my head in the sand or burying my head in someone else instead of having to deal with it. It's coming to a culmination point where it has to be dealt with. That's why we have been under so much intense pressure now for a couple years, because we have to release it. We have to let it go. We can't go to the new earth. We can't go through this ascension stuff that's about to happen until we release these people, these situations, this karma. If you look at it, an easy way to look at it is to sit down and think, okay, what was I supposed to learn from this person? Because if you look at it, or situation, typically there's something that you were to learn to love yourself unconditionally. Because if we love ourselves unconditionally, we won't allow people to treat us that way. We won't allow them to make us feel as though we are less than. We will establish healthy boundaries. We will not tolerate a job where we are not respected and valued. But we have to love ourselves. But instead of getting so wound up in emotions, if we can separate and look at it, and also pray, God, Jesus, angels, help me. What was I supposed to learn from this? Because as soon as you realize what you were supposed to learn, suddenly you don't have the emotions, you don't have the desire to cling to them anymore. You're like, okay, deuces. Deuces, learned it, don't want to go through this anymore. I'm tired of this crap. And for those of you that have found a rebound that they're the exact same as an ex, you'll be done with them too. Because you're like, no, I deserve better than that. I am worthy of better than that. I am so worthy of so much better. And I've now figured out what I was supposed to learn, and I'm done with it. But the time to do that is now. Because you can't take them with you. And you don't want to be stuck here because you can't release the fear. You can't release those worries. You can't come back to a state of loving yourself unconditionally. That's why we're all being pushed. It's gotten so intense for all of us. But for those of us that have released things, congratulations, because those of you that have released those big karmic things, yeah, the eclipse it was intense for everybody. It was still intense. It might have bothered you a little bit, but you weren't depressed. You weren't having panic attacks. You were just kind of breezing through it. Congratulations. You have released your big lessons, your karma. You are prepared. You are ready. For those of you that are not, use this time to let it go, to sit down, and also to face your emotions, because for some of you, they're saying you don't want to deal with it because you do not want to face your emotions. You don't want to share them. You don't want to acknowledge that you have them. You don't want to open up. You don't want to be honest. You don't want to be honest with yourself. You don't want to be honest with others. This is the time to do that. Let those walls down. Take your mask off. It will be worth it. And for those of you that are fearing the conversations, they're not going to be as difficult as you think they will be. Because if it's meant to be, if it's a conversation to let someone or something go, it's going to go really easy, and you're going to release that instantaneously because you have so much support on the other side. And also on the flip side, if it's a conversation for someone that you're meant to bring into your life or something that you're meant to do, that's going to go really easy too. Because sometimes we beat ourselves up because we think, oh, I really messed that up real bad. That's not going to happen. Don't have those fears. You have an entire team helping you. Ask that they help you. Because again, the thing to keep in mind, our angels cannot help us unless we ask for their help. Because we have free will. The only time they will ever step in without us asking is if it's life or death. If it's not our time to go, they're going to step in and keep us here. But other than that, they will face palm all day long and wonder, why won't you ask? We can help you. We can make it easier. Just ask for their help. They will make it easy. It'll be a breeze. Because if you had nothing but heartache and trials and tribulations and blocks and headaches this whole time, you know what you're being guided to do. You got this whole team behind you that's going to help you execute it and make those changes. Let them help you. Ask them. They help you do that this week. It'll be worth it. And then you'll find that you're not going to be stuck in this little hell any longer, because for those of you that have clung on, it's been a pretty miserable 2 years. Aren't you ready for things to get better? For things to get better, it's time to stop the distractions, do what you're being guided to do. Because when you've released that person, situation, that karma, you have learned that lesson, you will be back to a state of loving yourself. You will not feel bad about making choices that are good for you. You will not allow someone to control and dominate you. You will set healthy boundaries, and you'll just come back into a state of bliss, of happiness, where life's easy, where you're that person who's driving down the road and you've got every green light and you're listening to your favorite song and you're getting a little dance party going on in your car. You're like, life is so good. Thank you for this. Life is good. To come back to a state of loving life and loving every minute of it and knowing that life is good, you got to do your work. But it's not going to be as hard as you think. So they're there. Let them help you. Do that. Use this time. Use this energy. Use your team and just do it already. Get her done. And then get back to your happy, because they're ready to bring you some happy. Okay, so I know that was long, and I'm going to do each of your signs and astrological readings. So just know that however long this is right now, you're just going to get to skip past this on each of them. I will put it at the beginning of each one. And let's go ahead and get started with your monthly astrological readings. Hello, Scorpio. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with your September reading. For those of you that are interested in the cards that we're using today, we do have Doreen Virtue's Fairy Tarot. We also have her Mary Queen of Angels Oracle cards and her Archangel Michael cards. We also have Colette Baron Reed's Wisdom of the Oracle. I have prayed over and shuffled my Sibylas, my Lenormands, and also my Fin de Sickles. So as we need clarifiers, we will pull from those. Did ask that you all receive at least one message. Hopefully you'll get more than that. Okay. Make sure you can see that. Perfect. We can actually move them down a little bit. Okay. So what we have, situation, the foundation that led to the situation, what is blocking you, what is unknown to you at this time, and then across the top we have 3 cards that are the recommendations that the angels have for you at this time to move forward. Now, you have 1 major arcana, And those are things that are destined, fated, things that we really don't have a lot of control over. Then the other 3 are pips. So these are, things you have more control over. So it's also like daily, your daily routine, the things that you do every day. So starting out your situation, you have 4 of winter. And on the bottom it says, set aside your concerns for now. You can make a decision later. Solutions that come from meditation, the need for more sleep, or a vacation. And this would be, swords. This is all about thoughts being in our head. This card it really is about quieting our minds, meditating, taking a break, taking a vacation. Because solutions, it's very difficult for you at this time to come up with solutions because, you're overthinking, overanalyzing is making things elude you. It's not very clear. You don't have the clarity. And, actually, to stop thinking about it, stop worrying about it, instead just focus on something else. Also, it speaks of, getting adequate rest so that you're rejuvenated, you're refreshed when you wake up, you can be more optimistic. So many of you you're worn out. You're battle weary, you're worn out, you've been going through this situation for a very long time and you're just kind of over it. But you're not over it. You want to be over it, but you keep. So some of you are losing sleep. You're worried. You're upset. You feel like you're on your own in the cold. So you've got the snow all over. So she feels like she's on her own. She's got these prickly little pine cones, pine needles. Some of you feel like you've been shut out in the cold. You've been left in the cold. Some of you are kind of like in the cold. You don't want to come out of the cold, but you're stressing, you're worried, you're fretting, you're trying to. Some of you are like looking at the decision to move on because you're done with it. You're over it. You're finished with it. You're tired of it. So it could be a love situation. It could be any situation. It could be something work related, but you're over it. You're ready to move on. You're tired of it. They're saying like you've tried to make this situation work and it's just not working. And you can't bear it anymore. You just can't continue to do this or go through this any longer. Now, what's the foundation that has led to this situation? You have 2 of spring, and this is fire, wands. It's all about action, doing things. At the bottom it says a bright future manifested through hard work and creativity. Partnering with others who share your dreams, great progress being made. And this is about a positive new beginning, a positive start, opportunities to move forward, move into the future. And when you look at it, you've got these 2 people and they're working together, they're building this boat. It's going to take them into the future. It's going to take them to the future, to the things that they desire, the outcome that they desire. But this is what has led to you being isolated, over it, done, cold. To the point where you need to just stop thinking about it, stop worrying about it. This is a card that's also about making a decision. Choosing between two people, 2 options. I get this. For many of you, this is love related. And he chose someone else. So like your ex-lover, love interest, they chose someone else. It wasn't a good choice, though. Huh. It's interesting. So for some of you, your love interest, your partner, and I don't even get like it was a spouse or anything. It was a relationship that really didn't get off the ground. There was potential for that, but it didn't get off the ground, and he chose someone else thinking that he would have a beautiful new beginning with them, that other person. But it's turbulent. It's filled with turmoil. But meanwhile, it's left you in the cold and you're just over it. You're done. Although you have continued to worry and fret about it, but... And some of you have been totally committed to moving on. You're like, that's it. Forget it. I'm done with him. I'm moving on. They're showing me the ring. So some of you have moved on. You're dating. You're like, okay, I'm getting engaged. I'm marrying someone else. I'm done with him and all of his baloney. It's interesting. They're trying to stop that. They're trying to keep you from moving on, marrying, moving forward with this other person. Because this is the one you're to be with. Now what's blocking you? You have the Queen of Winter. So this is you. Now this could be opposite sex. So if you're listening to this and you're not a woman, change the sexes accordingly. If it sounds like your situation, it is. But you have the Queen of Winter, and it says strong, patient, self-sufficient, funny. And at the bottom, you have let go of people or things that no longer serve you. Now is the time to focus on your career. Unmarried or divorced individuals. And, you know, the Queen of Winter, she has it all. She has everything. Now, she's been through a lot to get there. She's had a lot of difficulties in her lifetime, but that has helped her grow. That has helped her grow stronger, more confident. She has overcome all of the challenges that she's had to face. And her strength is resolved. And now she can handle anything with a grain of salt. It's not an issue. She's also, because she's very wise, she can point you in the right direction with, you know, confidence. She's got this little knowing glimmer in her eyes. She knows things. She's amazingly patient. She's very heartwarming, easy to be around, someone that you're comfortable with. She has a lot of experience. She's very diverse, very well-rounded. She has let go of anyone and everything that has not served her. Anything that's brought her drama, heartache, she's let it go. She's cut it out of her life. She's very witty. She's very intelligent. She is someone, because, you know, this would be swords. Cut you with a sword. She is someone that can put you in your place. And she can do it in such an eloquent fashion that you don't even know what just happened to you. Like, she can leave you smiling after she just puts you in your place. But you see how she's like sitting in the cold? She's totally surrounded by ice and cold. She's on her own, in solitude. This can also be a card, of course, you know, just focusing on your career, focusing on money, focusing on everything except for relationships. But the Queen of Winter, she also can cut through the BS with her sword. Now here she's got this icicle. So you can see it, it's red. But she can just cut through the BS. But she also lacks emotion. She's cut off her emotions. It's interesting. So see how she has this wand? It's like the sword. And she's in the cold. But see how she's kind of like looking up and to the right. And almost kind of like a look, are you effing kidding me? Are you kidding me? Some of you are going to have someone that wants to come back and talk to you, but it's almost as though you're not going to give them the chance to have the conversation with you, because it's almost like you're going to be looking at them. Are you effing kidding me? I've put up with so much BS. Don't want to hear it. But they're trying to get you to let your guard down. They're trying to get you to, you know, defrost a little bit, melt yourself a little bit, because for most of you, this was a relationship. He chose and he went with someone else. And now you've cut off your emotions. You're cold. Even for those of you that are in a new relationship, for some of you even moving forward in a relationship swiftly, because it's like you made up your mind, done, deuces, I'm out. But that there's not even really any emotion in that either. Your heart's not in it, because your heart has iced over. You're cold. You don't want to open up to emotions because you were hurt deeply by this. But that's what's blocking you. By not opening your heart, by not thawing out the ice. By not being open. Because I guess for a number of you, like in September, October, there's going to be some conversation with this person, this love interest, this ex. And at the point where you're at right now, you don't care to hear it. You're just like, cold as ice, done. I'm done. I've taken all I can take. I cannot bear any more of this. But because you're at that state, that is blocking you. Because for most of you, this is the love of a lifetime. And sorry, Scorpios, as much as I hate to have to say this, for many of you, this is a divine love. It is a person that you're destined to be with. But you have been through so much with them. And I'm a Scorpio. I get it. I totally get the being done and being over the heartbreak and the being plan B. And I... But your heart and your mind are saying two different things. Because you know that this is a destined love. But you are kind of over it. Which is why a number of you are moving on. The other thing that's blocking you, the Queen of Winter, Queen of Swords, she cuts through the BS. She gets to the truth. She wants the truth. Many of you are blocked because you still don't know the truth with what in the heck happened here. Why did you make this choice? You don't have the details. You don't know everything that happened. And because of that, that's why you've become cold and closed off, because you're like, what it appears to be is something different than what it is. For some of you, it could be what it appears to be, but you don't have any information. You don't have the truth. You don't know what is going on. And because you don't have the truth, that's why you're done. You're over it. Some of you are trying to make the decision. Some of you are making the decision to move forward. They're trying to stop you from doing that, though. Because some of you are at the point right now that you're making the decision to move forward with someone else. Because you're like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Even though your heart's not in it with the other person, you're like, I don't care. I'm in it. I'm committed to it. I will make it work with this other person. But they're trying to get you to not do that. And you know that. Because what's unknown to you, you have the High Priestess. And Scorpios, you are the detectives of the Zodiac. You are highly intuitive. You know things that are going on. You're having a hard time trusting it, though. So the High Priestess, at the bottom it says, trusting your intuition, careful reflection before taking action, insights that come through meditation. You are the High Priestess. You're actually both of these. But the High Priestess, I mean, you have true spiritual gifts. You are highly intuitive. You receive insights about yourself and other people all the time. You have very powerful intuition and connection. And that ability, those psychic abilities, that intuition, that knowing, it is leading you in the right direction. But you don't want to hear it and trust it anymore. Because again, you know how she's kind of like looking up like, yeah, whatever, I'm over that. Because the emotions are so rocky. See this water? It's almost like all these pebbles are being thrown in there, and it's getting kicked up. You feel that this is the one for you. You feel that this is a divine love. You feel that this is a meant to be love. However, everything that you have seen with this person has been the opposite. So what you get with your intuition, your knowing, is that, okay, and it's like she's holding this book. It's almost like the book of life. So it's like you know that it's written in the book that this is the divine love that you are meant to be with. Twin flame, twin soul, soulmate. You know that they are your destiny. But it's all intuition. You're not seeing any physical manifestation of that. Everything that you're seeing physically is the opposite of what you're getting intuitively. And that's why you're at the place that you're like, I just can't do this anymore. I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like I am losing my damn mind because I keep getting all these signs and synchronicities that he's the one, but he chooses everyone else. He goes the other direction. He ignores, cuts me off. So I've cut my heart off now because I don't have the truth. I don't know what's going on, and I am tired of this, and it's made my heart cold. So I'm now all in with someone else. I'm now making the decision to move on full speed with someone else. And by full speed, like Scorpios, you're full. There's some of you that are full speed, like dating, getting married in just a matter of a couple months. Because you're like, I am over this. He has For most of you, it's love. It's like he chose the other person, he chose something else, and that was the final straw that broke the camel's back. You're like, okay, I'm moving on. ASAP, immediate. The angels are trying to slow you down. Because your intuition's correct. What you're getting about this person is correct. They are the one that's for you. They are meant to be with you. You are meant to be with them. But you don't have any more patience. Because, one of the things that the angels are recommending is, these, of course, cards at the top are all about, what they're recommending. And the first one you have is patience. And at the bottom it says, I trust in divine timing. You see this magical unicorn is stuck in this ring. Because you don't have patience. You want to break free. But this is, it's talking about, God's timing is perfect, not our timing. God's timing. Your prayers have been heard. You really wanted this to happen. You were intuitively getting that this was going to happen. But you are not seeing this happen. And you're like, what in the world? Now, for some of you, this could be a situation that's not love related. It could be, maybe you're wanting to make a change at work, or you've just been waiting for a shift in work, home, family, and it's just not happening. Be patient. Be patient. What you're intuitively getting is correct. It's spot on. It's just not the timing that you're thinking. Your prayers have been answered. You want this happiness of heart. You want to have this divine love. You want to have all these things that you've gotten visions and signs and synchronicities about. You're like, okay, all right already, make it happen. But you've gotten to the point that you think that your prayers are not being heard. They're not being answered. Some of you think that, like, God and the angels have just hung up that phone. They've hung up. They've disconnected. But other people's free will and choices are involved. And their free will and choices, and also their lessons. Maybe there's lessons that he's still learning that he's not learned yet. But when it comes to divine connections, when it comes to something like this, their choices, their lessons, their delays, well, they're going to cause you delays. But you just have to trust that God, Jesus, the angels, heaven, they have a perfect plan. They have a perfect solution. Everything that you desire will show up at the perfect moment. All you need to do is be patient. Be patient, trust, let go, and let God deal with it. Like Mother Mary, she had unbelievable patience. Be like her. Trust God's timing. And trust that you don't have to work so hard. You don't have to do a thing. You just need to let God do the things. And you also need to let down your guard, because the next card that you have is Go the Distance, and it shows this cheetah racing across this dry, arid desert to the finish line. And this is all about endurance and strength in the long haul, because this situation, it's not a sprint. This is a big dream. This is something that you have wanted for a very long time. For many of you, your whole life. You've dreamt of a love of the lifetime like this. You've dreamt of this situation, this career of a lifetime. You have wanted this. You have desired this. And it's so close within reach, but it still seems to, you feel like it's fading away. Like you have to let it go. Because there's been fluctuations. It's taken so much time. You've been having ups and downs emotionally. See how the sand is picked up and it's peaked at different points? But you just don't feel that you have the strength anymore. They're trying to bring you the love of a lifetime, a harmonious relationship, a relationship that truly will stand the test of time, a relationship that no matter what, ups and downs, goods and bads, it will still go the distance. It will stand the test of time. That's what they're trying to bring you. They're trying to bring you this divine love. But because there's been so many ups and downs, and because it's dry, it's arid, it's a desert, you feel like there's no love there. There's no emotion there. There's nothing left. It's dried up. So for some of you, because you have been through so much, it's like you feel as though your emotions have just been dried up. Or you feel that that person has zero emotions, but you just feel you cannot go on any longer. They're saying, hang in there. Hang in there. This person, this situation, it is something that is taking time. It is taking time because there are a lot of moving parts and pieces to the puzzle. But it is going to happen. You just have to have patience. Oh, and they're saying, Angela, you have to allow your emotions to come back and resurface. You have the emotions. You've just blocked them out. Cut them off. Allow yourself to feel again. Allow yourself to melt. Allow your heart to open up again. Know that they are bringing you this relationship, that it can be trusted, that person can be trusted, he can be trusted. You are very close to the finish line. You don't realize that. But you have to hang in there. The last card for the recommendations is honor and trust your feelings. And at the bottom it says, thank you, Archangel Michael, for supporting, guiding, and protecting me as I listen to and act upon my feelings. Help me understand and express my emotions with love. And it really is about trusting your feelings, trusting your emotions, trusting what you're getting. You know, looking inward, listening to those feelings, listening to those even physical. Like sometimes we'll have physical sensations that are tied to our emotions, but trusting that. Trusting that, knowing that it's the truth, accepting that. Because Scorpios, you're torn. So remember, you had this love interest, this love of a lifetime. You felt he was the one. You felt he was your destiny. You felt, oh my gosh, he can be trusted. I can count on him. I can build something on a solid foundation with him. I can build this love of a lifetime. You know, these dreams, these things I've desired, you know, can actually come true with him. But then it all just fell apart. And what you're seeing is not matching what you are intuitively getting, what you're intuitively feeling. You still feel like that person can be trusted, but you are totally ignoring it. They're saying for some of you, you've just stubbornly, out of hurt, are ignoring it. That's why you put up this wall, you're cold, you got your sword ready. You can trust him. What you're getting about him and the connection or the situation is correct. It is correct. Okay, let's do a quick clarifier on your situation. That's funny. Okay. So you have, and again, this is on your situation, you have pathway, and this is all about a very long, bumpy road. Something that you think there's light at the end of the tunnel. You think it's going to transform. You think it's going to be great, but every time you get beat up, you just get beat up. It's just taking too long. And then we have the message of concern. You see how she has her heart, her hand up on her heart in like surprise. Like she's received some very disappointing, sad, disheartening information. You know, she's touching her heart in dismay, shock, sorrow, because that's not what she expected to hear. That's not what she wanted to hear. News that's sad, news that's depressing, news that is disheartening. But that's the information that she received from him. And this is the wealthy man. And the interesting thing that I was saying is funny is the bottom of the deck is the privileged lady. And if you look, these two are a couple. The wealthy man, his woman, his other half is the privileged lady. When you look, the woman who received this message that was disheartening, they're the same woman. They're the same woman. So, this is a divine love. This is a meant to be love. But you receive some information from him, about him, that's upset you. That's had you worried. That's had you making the decision that you're like, okay, I'm moving forward. I'm moving on. Some of you have had you've been spinning in your thoughts in your head. Now, Move that. Let's, okay. Let's get some information as to what that news was. What is that information that you received from him or about him? Because you've been on this long road, this path of trying to make things happen with him. Thinking it's going to transform, thinking this is going to be beautiful, this is going to work, this is going to happen. But you received some shocking news. For some of you, they're also saying, see how there's like this time, it's keeping time? Some of you feel like he wasted your time. And some of you feel like, oh no, he is. So for some of you, there's some decision he has to make right now, and he's taking his sweet time, not making a decision. But his time's running out. Oh, because you're moving on. Or you have. Or you're full-fledged, focused, and dedicated to that. Okay, let's find out, what is this message? What's this message that you received? Okay, so we have the stanza, room, intimacy, privacy. We have the mercante. I like it down. And this is the merchant. It's all about exchange, contracts, agreements. You know, the merchant, he's all about making some money. And then we have the enemy, the female enemy. It's you know, the woman who acts in secret. Privacy, intimacy. No one's in the room. Everything's all beat up. She has this like knife angled toward him to hurt him. Again, she's the female enemy. She acts in secret. Her intent is to hurt. She's masked. She doesn't share the truth. She is not honest and forthright. She's cloaked. She's hiding things from him. But he returned to her. So so many of you received information, and it was very rash. It was very abrupt. It was very hurtful. Came out of nowhere, that he was going to be with someone else. But that person that he was choosing to be with is an enemy, is secretly trying to hurt him, and has in the past for some secretly, has hurt him in the past, and is intending to at this point, which he's about to find out. But for some, he's married to her. He's in a contract with her. He's bound to the enemy. Which is some information that you have not received. So for some, he's married to her, or he has a business with her. But he's bound to her. It's tied to money. There's something between the two of these. Something between him and her about money. And the relationship started, so for some, maybe they have a business together, but it was founded on love and intimacy, but that stuff got all jacked up. May have started with love, but it turned quickly into hate and anger and hatred. But at that point, there's already this contract. Now, let's do foundation. And of course, the male enemy would show up. Il nemico, male enemy, concealed hate, rivalry. Then we have the consolante sorpresa. And this is your, partial success. Something that's less than you expected. Like you expected it to be a success, but it wasn't. You're like, oh, well, this isn't what I wanted. But it's with regards to love. So, and again, this is on the 2 of spring, which this is the foundation that has led to the situation. So what has led to you making a decision to move forward, leaving, being in the cold, being just over it. There's also the snake in there. So he shimmied off secretly. And again, this was about him making a decision. So he made a decision in love, slyly, secretly. So he's like slinking off, looking back like, oh gosh, she's going to be real mad. She's going to be real mad. But he still doesn't care. I know she's going to be mad, but I still don't give a crap. I don't care. I'm still going to do what I want to do. And for some, I'm still going to do what I want to do because of sex. Because the snake, it's all representative of sex. It's a phallic symbol. So I'm gonna leave her behind, even though there's this divine meant to be love, because I'm gonna go get mine. But it was a choice in love. But it has not turned out well. He made the wrong choice. He's made the wrong choice. He was thinking, so for some, he went back to this ex-female enemy, thinking it was going to work out. He shimmied off in the middle of the night without tact, which it was hurtful. But he made that choice in love, and it's not turned out well for him. He chose someone else. And because it wasn't the right choice, it has not turned out well. It is not turning out well. Now, let's do last one. We'll do honor and trust your feelings. Denare. This is, it really is, money, denari, money, inheritance, investments, gain, financial gain. And allegories are licore, and this is happiness of the heart. There's two happinesses in here. There's one that's like happiness with your friends and family, but then there's happiness of the heart, something in love, something that makes your heart happy, makes your heart joyful. And then we have the lamika. And the lamika is, a confidant, a friend. It's someone you can trust, a relationship of trust. And again, these cards up here, these are what they're recommending you do this month, Scorpio. They were saying for some of you, I'm going to say for some of you, he chose someone else. It broke your heart. You've moved on, or you're in the process of moving on. The angels, God, they're trying to stop you. They're trying to slow you down. You're now cold. You don't know the truth. You want the truth. You want to know what the heck is going on because you don't. You're moving forward. You're not trusting your intuition. You're not trusting what you're getting. So this is what they're saying to do. Trust. Have patience. Some of you, he's going to be coming back because he made the wrong choice. What led to you in this state is him choosing someone else. He's realizing that that's the wrong choice. He's being divinely guided. Just as you're being divinely guided to slow down, hold your horses, he's being divinely guided as well. But when he comes back, because you're so upset and you have cut yourself off, that's why they're saying to let your heart melt, open up, be open to what he has to say. Things are not what they seem. Like for some of you, there's this bind, this contract, this thing that you were not aware of. Now, granted, he should have ended it, they're saying, but he didn't. But they were saying earlier that, we all have, divine timings at play. We can't control how quickly other people are going to learn their lessons. We can't control their decisions. But this is something that's being divinely led and orchestrated. Eventually, God will get us right back on the course that we're intended to be on. It's taken a little bit of time getting him back on the course he's intended to be on. He chose wrongly. There was some lesson, some karmic thing that they're trying to fix that. But in the meantime, when he comes back, which is what's about to happen, this isn't just money. This is what do we place our value in. This is actually a safe. That's a safe. Scorpios, you are safe. This relationship, it is a relationship you can trust. It will fulfill your hopes, your dreams, your desires, those things you've been praying for, those things that you value, that you want. It is safe. It's a safe bet. Say yes. Have that conversation. They're saying don't turn your back on it. You feel that he's trustworthy. You feel that this is love of a lifetime. You feel that it's safe, but because of things that have happened, what's unknown to you, your intuition's right. It's right. This is a relationship of trust. He can be trusted. It will make both of you happy. It will fulfill both of you. It will bring both of you happiness. The happiness and things that you both desire. It is 100% safe. It is protected by the divine. Trust that. Okay. And that's it. So hopefully that helps, Scorpios. I do wish you all an amazing month filled with a lot of love, joy, and blessings.